I have a lot of energy, and I go all day, and I love people. And something happened, and that big something was 50. I turned 50. I turned 52 years ago, and I just didn't feel myself. I didn't feel good. I was tired. People talk about the brain fog. It is a real thing. You know, when you walk into a room and you wonder, what was I doing in here? I'm not quite sure. So I had a lot of those things. I was overweight for me. I just didn't feel good. So I heard about it from actually Dr. McKee, Sean McKee. Sean and I are from Ocala. We went to Forest High School. Yay, Wildcats. And so, you know, I trusted her. She's an amazing neuroradiologist, and I'm going to introduce her to you a little bit later. But that's how I started. So that story started with Debbie. And then I shared it with one of my best friends, Dr. Neil Goodman, and we've been in practice together 18 years, right? He is the chief of pediatrics at our local hospital. He's well respected. He's very skeptical. He questions everything I do, everything I say, and you know what? It's because he's the best of the best, and that's how I want to be. So I introduced Dr. Goodman to this about a month into taking these products because I started feeling better. And slowly the old Debbie came back. I felt good. Over the last couple of years, I've lost 30 pounds, and I'm very excited about that. Yes, and it's been slow. It's been a process, but I feel good. So let's get started. We are passionate about the science behind these products. Like I said, we've been practicing for a long time, and to put our names and our reputation behind these products means a lot. So let's start first. If we could forward to this video. Okay, I'd like to introduce our first guest speaker, Dr. Neil Goodman. Neil is a board-certified pediatric and adolescent physician. Like I said, he's the chief of pediatrics at our local hospital. He is a U.S. veteran. Thank you for your service. Yes, thank you. He's amazing because he's going to delve into the science. He's going to really focus on two of our foundational products initially, but we're going to go through some of the basics on these products. So if you've got pen and paper, jot some notes down. So without any further ado, Dr. Neil Goodman.
Thank you. All right, as Debbie has said, and of course you'll hear some testimonies later on, I am a skeptic. This is the last thing I thought I would be doing, is talking to audiences in their homes and in auditoriums and in a church about something that I really didn't understand. But it was brought to me and as a leap of faith, and maybe it's fitting that we're all here in the church right now, but Debbie approached me and she said, you know, I think that I have something that you should try, and maybe it might help you. I think she realized that I was under a lot of stress in my work. I'm a very compulsive person, very regimented, got to have things just the right way. And she told me after I had been on this for a few months that she noticed some changes in me that were subtle but nonetheless there, and I accepted that. And I continued to use the products and continued to see changes. So that made me very, very interested in what was going on, why was it working, and I wanted to sort of break down the science because I realized that if people were going to understand this, they needed to understand why it works. This is not magic. I think people hear the little yellow pill and that there's something magical or it's some sort of new concoction or new fad or something like that. It's not that. It really is steeped in science. And I broke that down. I went into the literature. I dug deep. And I looked at these research articles. And I'm going to present some points of it to try to make it understandable by everybody. And as an educator, as a person who teaches medical students, I teach PA students, I teach nursing students, I have thousands of people who come through my office every single year. They need to know about this. This is the new frontier in medicine. I can safely say that, and I'm going to show you why. And you are privileged to be here. I've got to tell you, the fact that somebody cared enough to invite you here to hear this message, you know, it really tickles my heart because then that gives me an opportunity to tell you about it, and then in turn, you might say something to someone else, or maybe you know someone that might benefit from this. Now, this could possibly be the single most important thing that you ever hear with regard to your own personal health, or maybe the health of loved ones that you have. But I have to make this FDA disclaimer because we're talking about a food product. This is not a drug. You cannot say that this causes or creates or diagnoses or cures disease. We can't say that. It's a food product. But that doesn't mean that it doesn't work. And the FDA does say that this product reduces oxidative stress in almost everyone who takes it to the level of a person who is at least age 20 or maybe even lower. Now, I know that means not much to you right now, but it will in a few minutes. So let me move on and talk about the science. So there are 4 core pillars of health that we regard in science that have to do with human health and wellness. The first pillar has to do with something we call oxidative stress, and I'm going to get into the details of that in a minute. The second one is about mitochondrial function. And it doesn't have to be scary, and it won't be scary. The third concept is that of the second brain, which we are also going to have Debbie is going to speak to that. And Debbie is also going to speak about the blood-brain barrier. We're going to talk about those 4 things. But I'm going to focus on the first 2. And this is really at the crux of what these products are all about. So let's talk about this core 4. And the first of the core 4 is oxidative stress. So if you think about that, it all surrounds oxygen. And everybody knows we need oxygen, right? It's important. You got to breathe it. You need it to live. But it's also the very thing that ultimately is going to kill us. I'm going to say that again. We need it to breathe. It was there in our first breath of life. The air that we breathe is 21% oxygen, but it's 78% nitrogen. So most of it's inert. If I were to expose a newborn baby to high levels of oxygen as a pediatrician, that baby ultimately would go blind. Okay? That's what causes retinopathy of prematurity. It's a disease process. So oxygen can be bad. And ultimately, oxygen has that effect on every single one of our cells. It actually destroys our cells in time. So the very thing that we need to live is also the thing that's going to take us out. And that's the crux of the whole matter. And that's what I'm going to explain here. So if you think about what oxygen does to metal or steel, it causes it to rust. And if you look at your air conditioner coils after they've been sitting out there in the oxygen and the rain and the water and the salt air, it causes it to corrode. Well, your cells do the same thing. You just don't know it's happening. They're oxidizing because of their exposure to oxygen. And your body needs oxygen. It generates, as a result of that, some molecules that are very damaging to the interior of your cells. But it causes then cell damage and then ultimately inflammation. We see that as wear and tear, sore joints, soreness in the morning, ultimately aging. Finally, when you get enough of that, disease processes set in as other organ systems start to fail, and then finally cells die. And that's the end. That's how we complete our lives. The source of all of that is oxygen. So what is the common denominator? I want to just say, if you took an apple and bit into it, everybody's seen this, you put it on your shelf, and a half hour later, it does this. It turns brown. Why is that? It's because it's made of flesh. It's flesh exposed to oxygen. We're flesh. we age the same way that that apple does. So the thing that causes that to happen is something called a free radical. And free radicals are basically oxygen byproducts of our burning fuel and our eating our food and doing exercise. We generate these by the millions every day. And those have a toll on our system. And if you look at that center part, you can see that it causes DNA damage. That means your nucleus of your cells are damaged by these free radicals, which are essentially like little missiles or projectiles inside the cell. Anything they touch, they poke a hole in. If you have enough holes in all these structures inside your individual cells, eventually the cell fails. And when a cell fails, it dies. And your body cleans it up, gets rid of the debris, and it makes some new cells. Well, the thing that causes those free radicals is oxygen. And oxygen is stimulated by radiation and X-rays and sunlight and some of the pollutants that we breathe and foods that we eat, alcohol, drugs, a number of different things. All right, but again, the common denominator in all of this is the oxygen molecule. All right, so let's just refer to them as the bad guys. I'll say free radicals, we're going to mean bad guys, okay? We make them a lot, but we have good guys too. So when we were born, we were given some basic biochemical ways to get rid of all these free radicals. When we were young, they worked really well, and they're at the top of the triangle. This is a pyramid of antioxidants. The ones at the top of the triangle are the most potent. They're the ones that we have internally in every single one of our 37 trillion cells, from the tip of your nose to your hair follicles, to your eyes, to your feet. They're all equipped with the ability to get rid of free radicals by the millions. But we didn't know that when we were growing up. Mom told us, eat kale, eat broccoli, right? Have your vitamin C. Maybe as you got a little older, drink a little wine. Has resveratrol, that's an antioxidant. But the ones that you have in your diet pale in comparison to the ones that your own body can make. The ones that are in your diet are called direct antioxidants. The ones that are in your body are called indirect antioxidants. You make those by the millions, and they can compete with those free radicals. All right, so those three go by names. You don't need to know these names, just know that they exist. I'm going to say what those names are, though. SOD, which means superoxide dismutase, now forget it, catalase, and glutathione peroxidase. These are your three that are in every single one of your cells. Okay, now just let that go, and let's just refer to those as the good guys, okay? We got a war going on here. But I like to bring that Superman symbol up to the next to the name because you want Superman by your side. You want those good guys to help you in your battle against the bad guys. All right, so when you have an imbalance of those free radicals, the bad guys, with the good guys, that is by definition oxidative stress. It's as simple as that. You're outnumbered. And by the time you hit 20, the balance shifts away from your own health, away from your health, and you start to suffer the consequences of oxidative stress, and that's aging. It's implicated in over 200 diseases, maybe as many as 500 diseases, okay? Everything from heart disease to Alzheimer's disease to ADHD to anxiety, cardiovascular disease, asthma, joint disease, arthritis. So you can see in the center, inflammation and oxidative stress, they're basically hand in hand with each other. You can say one and it means the other. But they're central to every single organ system in your body and what effects they have in terms of disease, and they're all indicated there. So my job as a medical doctor, and as Dr. McKee and Debbie, what we've done up to this point is we prescribe drugs. That's what we were trained to do. That's the title of Doctor of Medicine. So I've given drugs to patients to help offset those individual organ systems that were damaged by inflammation. And if you had asthma, you would take an asthma inhaler. Or if you have ADD, you might take Adderall or Concerta or something like that. Or if you had heart disease, you take a blood pressure medicine. So that's how we treat it in modern day. But maybe we've got that wrong. Maybe, in fact, what we should be doing is reducing that central area, that part of inflammation and oxidative stress, and bringing it down and then in turn have an effect on all of those organ systems at the same time. And that is what we're talking about. We can get rid of that and bring in Superman, those three good guys, superoxide dismutase, catalase, and glutathione peroxidase from every single one of our 37 trillion cells simultaneously, activate them, bring them back to the level of a 20-year-old, and then you can offset all the damage that was created by free radicals. And that's what we're talking about here. This is the little yellow pill. So listen, so we have 23 pairs of chromosomes, and each of those horizontal bands that you see there codes for a gene. Well, we know that those genes code for proteins and enzymes of everything that your body does. The color of your eye, the color of your hair, how healthy you are, how much energy you have, what your lot is in life, it's all coded. But they also code for the NRF2 protein and the NRF1 protein. Now you've heard something new here. NRF2 and NRF1 are our master regulators. They're genes that code for master regulator proteins that control our cellular protection. And guess what they do? When you turn them on, they increase superoxide dismutase by 34%. This is absolutely amazing. That's why I'm on board with this. I have never heard of anything like this before. And this is documented in the literature. This is documented in the annals of the NIH, peer-reviewed studies, research articles that have been not only done by universities over the last 10 years, but also at the National Institute of Health, at PubMed.gov. You can look it up. And it has increased catalase by 54% and superoxide dismutase by 300% in 120 days. The longer you use it, the better it works. But in everyone, within 30 days of taking it, you can reduce your oxidative stress by 40%. That means down to the level of a 20-year-old, no matter what your age is. That is phenomenal. And if you're younger, it takes it down even lower, to the level of a baby. So this is just amazing science. So what I'm trying to say is that whatever your DNA is, that is not your destiny. You can change that. Those 23 pair of chromosomes do not dictate who you are, or what you're going to be. You can take control of it. And the reason is because only 20% of your DNA is ever expressed at one time. 80% of it, after it's had its effect and made you who you are, it becomes dormant. It just sits there. Like when you were a child, those are turned off now. And they just rest quietly, waiting for a signal to do their job. But they're there in all of your cells. So when you activate them and you change that, that's what we call biohacking. Some of you have a biohacking t-shirt on. That means you're doing this. You are talking to your genes by the foods that you put into your body or the foods that you eat purposely in order to activate certain genes that are your healing potential. The other opportunity for you is just to be, instead of biohacked, be hijacked. I don't want to be hijacked. We're hijacked every single day. What does that mean? It means you're being taken over. You're being taken over by daily stress, by injury, by exposure to drugs, alcohol, UV light, pollution, half the things that we put in our body and what we eat and don't even know, that we're being hijacked. When you biohack, you're actively optimizing your genetic potential, you're being the best form of you that you were supposed to be, and you're using a new science called nutrigenomics. Nutrigenomics just simply means nutrition and how it interfaces with your genes, using food and food products. Very simple. So we know that this product, the little yellow pill, Protandim, is a NRF2. It is a natural food product that comes from organic, healthy, non-GMO sourced plant-based materials that were put together in a special way. It's the only product that has ever been shown to do this, that when it does this, it's able to activate that NRF2 survival protein that I talked about and turn on those three good guys. All right, look what's in it. Ashwagandha. I have no idea what ashwagandha is. I know it's a bark root. Bacopa extract, green tea. The ancients in China have been using green tea for what, 5,000 years? Did they even know what they were doing? I don't think so. But we know that when you take green tea and you expose cells to it, it turns on the NRF2 protein. That's what it does. They didn't know it, but it worked. Milk thistle. And lastly, turmeric. How many people are taking turmeric by itself? Okay, turmeric is an NRF2 activator. There are many NRF2 activators in your diet. Kale and broccoli are NRF2 activators. Wine, resveratrol, is an NRF2 activator. Vitamin C is an NRF2 activator. But they all do it in so infinitesimally small amounts that it can't really possibly have an effect on the number of free radicals that your body makes at any given time. It just can't compete. But look what happens when you put these 5 things together in a specified amount together. They synergistically elevate their NRF2 activation from any one individual product by 1,800%. And that's the magic. That's what the patent was for on this NRF2, this little yellow pill. And that's where the research lies. So, if you take NRF2, what you're going to do is you're going to reduce your oxidative stress by 40% in 30 days, everyone. 99.99% of people tested, it went down. You're going to reduce your cellular stress. You're going to induce enzymes capable of neutralizing over 1 million free radicals in every single cell of your body simultaneously every day that you take it. You're going to also, and this is not talked about very much, turn on your survival genes. There's over 400 survival genes that we also need in order to live. And we can turn those on. And I'll show you that. And I call that tuning your piano. I'll show you an analogy to that in a minute. And then you help to repair your body and rejuvenate their own cells. So this is incredible healing power. It's the only natural supplement that has ever been shown to extend life in mammals. This was a 10-year study. And this was reported by a division of the National Institute of Health. There is no other substance on Earth ever identified that has ever been able to do this. And the research studies are available, and we can get you those research studies for anyone who's interested. That's why I got on board with this. I was a doubter. But I saw it in me, and I saw it in other people, and I saw what was happening. And we'll give you some of those stories. This just briefly illustrates something very simple. It says here at the top, you could drink 87 glasses of wine to equal 1 little yellow pill. You could eat 375 oranges to equal 1 little yellow pill. You could drink or take 120 vitamin C tablets would equal 1 little yellow pill. And the last one, 11 pounds of blueberries. That's going to cause some diarrhea. I don't think I could do that. All right. So this is an incredibly potent product is what I'm talking about. So this is, if you look at this red line here, this red line shows the graph of what oxidative stress is in normal humans from age 20 to age 80. And you can see it's pretty much the straight line up. By the time you're 80, the oxidative stress level is this much. But if you take Protandim, this is what it does. Flat line. Level at all ages. The same level as a 20-year-old. That's an FDA statement. I can make it now, and it says that people who take Protandim can reduce their oxidative stress by 40% in 30 days down to the level of a 20-year-old. FDA. That's the statement I'm allowed to make. I can't say it cures disease. You can connect the dots. If you reduce oxidative stress and you know it's implicated in over 200 diseases, and you look it up and you do that web search that says oxidative stress and multiple sclerosis, oh yes, it's implicated, as it is in many, many other diseases that you can look up, and you can see that link. And that's why people are using this. All right, I mentioned tuning a piano. What do I mean by that? I'm going to zip through this real quick. If you tune a piano, you're bringing it into harmony. You want the keys to sound nice. So here's a piano. And you see these green lines, those are the notes on the piano. Those will be equal to your genes. Each one's expressed at a certain frequency. And this is what it looks like. When you buy that brand new piano, it's in tune, it plays nicely. But if you have that piano up in the attic for 50 years and you age, it's going to play poorly. And you see the lines, the red lines, are all over the place, and this piano doesn't sound so good anymore. Well, our body is like that. These are our genes, 400 survival genes, all mapped out. Remember, I told you 3 of them were those 3 good guys. But let's just zoom in on the box, which is just 63 of the 400 survival genes. Just these 3, 63. Zoom in on that. That's what they look like when you're aged. There are genes up and there are genes down. This is what happens when you take Protandim. The ones that are low, with like glutathione and superoxide dismutase, and the ones that are high, like the ones that cause diabetes and hardening of the arteries, do this. Amazing, right? Absolutely amazing. There are 400 of these guys doing this simultaneously. They're all smoothed out. So that piano doesn't have to be out of tune anymore. Remember, that piano, that keyboard is your genes, is what you have in you, your body. So you want to bring that into harmony. So now is the future. Grandma and her family are going to say that I had my genes tuned by Protandim. Okay? You never ever heard that before, but you know about it now. All right. Washington State University in 2015 said, based on the research that was presented over the last 10 years, that this was potentially the most extraordinary and therapeutic preventative breakthrough in the history of medicine. And I believe it. I've seen this in many, many people. I've seen it in my own patients. I've seen it in the parents of my patients. And they have all come to me, and you're going to hear maybe some stories today of just incredible benefits that people have had by activating and biohacking their own bodies. You're not doing something bad. You're doing something good. You're not hurting yourself. You're taking a food product. All right, just as a note, I have one of my dogs is here, by the way. And this has been used in animals and pets, and there is NRF2 for our animals too. And there are incredible stories of animals who absolutely, they don't know what's happening to them. You give them something, and if they benefit from it. My Great Dane, who had a totally gray muzzle, you can see her there on the bottom corner, her muzzle became dark again. And she, my neighbor, when I was walking the dog's almost 7 years old, said, "Did you get a new dog?" I said, "No." The nuclear part right there, that's your DNA. If you mess that up, your body codes wrong, starts to make some mistakes. What happens when the body codes wrong and makes a mistake? That's called cancer. Okay, it's a transcription error. When you destroy mitochondria by those same free radicals, the cell has no ability to produce energy, and that cell will die. You can get rid of the nucleus, but you can't get rid of the mitochondria. Those mitochondria will dry up and die, and you now have less cells. Here's your mitochondria in a cell. So essentially, free radicals act like little hurricanes that wipe out the interior of the cell, clean house, and you have nothing left. Most cells have 200 or 400 mitochondria. The ones that are more metabolically active, like your brain and your heart, have a lot more. So what do you think happens if you reduce the mitochondria in your heart, or you reduce the mitochondria in your brain? Your heart runs less well. Your body fuels less well. You become less efficient. And so what happens is, as that cell is destroyed, those mitochondria going down decreases your metabolism. That's why as you age, you gain weight, because you have less of them. Your furnace burns less well. And then when that happens, you have less energy, you heal less well, you're more ravaged by disease, and then that then affects your thinking, how you emote, your feelings, your concentration. We call brain fog. Gosh, where did I leave the keys this morning? Why are my socks in the refrigerator? That's pretty bad. That happens to you. So Protandim NRF1 is the survival regulatory gene. Again, Superman, right, coming into play here. We want the good guys on our team. It increases the number of mitochondria, protects your mitochondria from damage. It supports cell rejuvenation, improves your brain function, your heart function, your blood function, and overall improves cellular metabolism. So these two main features, the dual synergizer, which is part of the vitality stack, part of the core four, these are two of the core four. These are the 1-2 punch, if you will, that covers basically cellular repair and cellular energy. And this is why it's so important. All right, we're going to give away some NRF2 and NRF1. And Debbie, I'm going to let you take the microphone.
Okay. Thank you. So, Suzanne, you have a little pink bag. Oh, Denise has raffle tickets. Everybody just remember when you're sitting here, you're aging. Thank you. So take a big breath. Remember, you have 37 trillion cells in your body. They're working hard all day long, right? This is all about fighting inflammation. And I know everybody here, like me, wants to be the best version of themselves, right? Everybody wants to be the best version of themselves. And thank you, Dr. Goodman. It's just an exceptional presentation. Let's do this, though. Everybody take out your raffle ticket. Our guest here today, everybody should have the other half of a raffle ticket. And I have 004919. 0049. Oh, the Wilkersons, yay! There you go. This is actually our ProBio, and that's perfect timing because I'm going to tell you about that. Okay. All right, thank you. All right, so this is my family up here. My husband, Mike, actually couldn't be here today. Mike, Sean, and I, we all graduated from Forest High School. Jesse just finished school at the University of Georgia. And Taylor is a junior at Georgia Southern. I realize I'm treading lightly on Georgia. I'm being very careful not to talk too much about Georgia Bulldogs here. Okay, so Dr. Goodman talked about 2 of the 4 core pillars of health. The other 2, I'm going to run through those quickly. But we talked about the first 2, and we're all, again, working on helping our bodies at the cellular level. The NRF2 activator, the little yellow pill, decreases oxidative stress by 40% in a month. What does that mean? It means that your body is getting rid of trash and waste. Every time you breathe, you take breaths in and out, you're moving all day long, your body is producing waste. And that's what these products are about. It's helping us get rid of the waste in our body. And then, of course, the NRF1 activator. Who wants more energy? What a difference in the past 2 years with me. I have great energy. My husband calls me the beast sometimes at night because I have great energy. Dr. Goodman, I know, we'd be on call sometimes and I'd call him and I'm like, you have to get up. It's 9 o'clock, but you got to go to the hospital. Now sometimes we're chatting on the phone, 11:30, 12 o'clock. My husband's like, time to go to bed. Yeah. So anyway, it's all about being the best version of yourselves and making good energy. So let's talk about the last 2 core pillars of health. So we talk about gut health. I love this. Because I work with children in pediatrics, I have the wonderful opportunity to teach people how to raise their children from the start, how to give them good foods in their body. I'm also a lactation consultant, so I'm passionate about feeding them good nutrition from the start. So the 4 core pillars of health is called the second brain. Okay, this is the Zeke ProBio. Did anybody out here take a probiotic? Yes, and why do we take probiotics? Let me tell you why you need probiotics. First of all, I don't know if any of you ever heard of this. And I remember in medicine when I was in school, we just talked about the alimentary canal. Food goes in, food comes out. Okay? Well, that's all we knew, but guess what? It matters what you put in your body. So if you take all the DNA in your body, in all of your cells, and let's focus on the gut first. Okay? If you take the DNA of all the bacteria of your gut and compare it to the DNA of all the other cells in your body, guess what? There's more DNA in the bacteria of your gut. That's a little scary. When measured, like I said, the DNA of the bacteria in our gut is more than all of the human DNA combined. Therefore, we are actually more microbial than we are human. So this is why probiotics are really important to our health. Dr. Goodman talked about good guys, bad guys. What do we want more in our body? We want more good guys, right? So the bad bacteria in our gut tend to persist over time. My daughter had an infection in her gut. It took a while to get rid of it. These probiotics actually saved her life. So there are a lot of good bacteria in the gut, but they're constantly being depleted, and they're very sensitive to assault. The chemicals that we put in the body, the foods that we eat, even emotional stress that we're under. So we need to balance and maintain the integrity of the gut. Okay, so microbiome in our gut, of course the bacteria in the gut, has the ability. There are the same neurotransmitters in our gut than there are in our brain. We secrete serotonin, dopamine, norepinephrine. So, since the gut's job is to absorb, we are now able to absorb microbial signaling. And what does that mean? So, in other words, the microbes are sending signals to our first brain. How do you all feel when you go out and you eat a meal that's probably not the healthiest meal for you? Do you feel good or do you feel bad? You feel bad. Why? Because your gut talked to your brain. It's trying to tell you that was not a good choice that you put into me today. So it has an effect on our well-being. So with inflammation, we get a lot of inflammation every day by the things that we're exposed to. I don't know if you all have heard about the leaky gut, but there's this beautiful woven pathway in the lining of our gut. And again, it's sensitive to assault, the foods that we eat and the stress that we're under, and it actually breaks up the lining of the gut. And when that happens, we have something called leaky gut. This can affect our emotions and cause things like depression, anxiety, and affects our memory capacity. Again, if you go out and you eat a yucky meal and you eat too much, how do you feel? You're tired and you have that brain fog. So leaky gut has been implicated in things that Dr. Goodman and I see often, like autism and Down syndrome. The other thing that a lot of people aren't aware of is that 70 to 80% of your gut contains our immune system. So I love our probiotic. I have recommended them for years in my practice because, again, Dr. Goodman and I use pharmaceuticals. We use antibiotics every day, and it will affect our gut. So I've always recommended probiotics, but I tell you this, I will never recommend another now that I know about our probiotic. So our probiotic has 6 helpful strains of bacteria. No matter how many bacteria are in our probiotic, but where does it go? Remember, a lot of your immune system is regulated by your gut. So we want that steady release of bacteria that's needed in each area of your gut to be released over time. And our probiotic does that over a 10 to 12 hour period. So most of that probiotic gets to where it needs to, which is the large intestine. Something called Wellmune. Wellmune is an FDA-approved product that enhances your immune system. All right, that's the third pillar of health. That's called our second brain, and that's our gut. Let's talk about our first brain. Most of our brain is made of fat. Doesn't it make sense to feed our brains good fat? In children, more than 40% of our diet needs to be fat. So I'm always encouraging and talking to parents, what are you feeding your children? Unfortunately, a lot of the processed foods and packaged foods that we have nowadays are filled with yucky fat. So let's talk about this. Our omega plus is ours has omega-3 and omega-7 in there. And you can get these from your foods, but there are a lot of foods that I know a lot of us don't like to eat, like sardines and mackerel, flax and chia seeds. I say those words to my husband, and he goes out to dinner when I bring the greens in, you know, he's out getting steak. And actually beef, grass-fed beef, is filled with good fat, but a lot of us don't eat grass-fed beef. Some don't even like the taste, and unfortunately it's also hard to get. So omega-3 is very important. Every single membrane on every 37 trillion cells in our body has this membrane that needs good fat protection. It's good for healthy muscles and joints, for cellular communication pathway, and they're anti-cancer and anti-diabetes. And the omega-7s are anti-inflammatory and anti-diabetes. Vitamin D3, they just added one more beautiful product in with our omega, and that's vitamin D3. We used to think, especially because we all live in the South, that we got enough vitamin D from our sunlight. Unfortunately, we don't. And I bet you if we tested each of us here in the audience today that 90% of us would be vitamin D deficient. So we added 800 international units to bones, right? Strong muscles. It's needed for our immunity, and it protects our prostate and breasts. Okay, I love mother's breast milk because it has the perfect blend of fats. We talk about the omega-3s, the DHA. Has anyone ever taken a fish oil before? The day, do you get fish burps? Actually, I have some here. We can pass around. I've got some here if you guys want to try it. Ours has the purest quality of fish oil that I've ever taken. I've been taking fish oils for years. Oh, Sean's going to demonstrate. When you put the fish oil in your mouth, and these literally can be opened up and squeezed in a food product, and it's so safe that I would put it in actually a baby's formula or breast milk. It's a little pop, so don't let that scare you when you try it, but it is yummy. It's a yummy lemon flavored oil product. It's delicious. Our fish oil is made from cold water fish. That's very important because they have good fat. Cold water fish need a lot of fat to stay warm, right? So we have a wonderful Nordic fish. And literally within 6 hours, these fish are taken off the boats, and I can tell you the exact boats that they come from, and within 6 hours they're processed. That's why we call it boat to bottle. That's pretty impressive. So again, it's not rancid. You're not going to have any fishy burps. Don't be afraid. I know everybody's looking at me like I'm not going to try this, but I want you to try it. They're wonderful.
You can normally swallow them. You don't have to.
Yes, yes, you can normally swallow them. Now, if a child, we actually have a pediatric neurologist on our team, and she has 5 delightful children, and they look forward to their fish oil every day. That's pretty impressive. So this is her littlest, and at first she used to open them up and squeeze them in her food, and after a while she said, "Mommy, I can take that." So every morning she takes it, bites into it, sucks all the lemony flavor out of it, and spits the little capsule out of it. Again, it's all vegetable product too. Okay, let's do another giveaway. All right, so everybody pull out your raffle ticket. I have a 004919. Oh, I was going to say. Oh, from the pink.
Oh, sorry.
I thought that name sounded familiar. You know what? You know I'd give you 2, right?
There's 2.
Okay. All right. So 004930. Oh, good.
But probio or omega? What you want? Which one you want? Fish oil or?
There you go. Good. Okay. I want to introduce. Yes, yes. We're going to do a little question. Dr. McKee is a board-certified neuroradiologist. Veteran. She has been the chief of neuroradiology at U.S. Air Force Keesler Medical Center. She has 2 amazing boys. One started at the University of Alabama. That's actually a bad word in the Georgia house. Just amazing, bright boys. They're athletes. Sean has actually competed in 2 full Ironmans.
Yep.
That's really impressive. Her husband's a gastroenterologist, and I think her really. Here you go.
Thank you for reaching out to me. It's been a lot more fun with Debbie on my team. We have to update that because Jack and Christian are now 17 and 19. They aged up. So they're rock star 17 and 19-year-olds. But anyway, so everyone stand up, please. Everyone stand up. Stand up, stand up. Because this is a lot of good information. And when we stand up, we kind of activate the blood flow in your brain. And you don't want you to miss anything. So just kind of stretch a little bit, and then you can sit down. Okay? So we're going to go on. So I couldn't find your vitality stack in their bag. I was looking. But what I love about the 4 pillars of health and the way this company has, they've just grown so much. I found out about this in 2012. My doctor told me about it. Why did I see a doctor at age 45? Because I was exhausted. Like Debbie said, she said I felt frumpy and foggy, and I felt harried and harassed. I mean, I was overwhelmed. I was exhausted. Didn't want to get up out of the bed in the morning, falling asleep in the evening watching TV or a movie. If I went to a movie, I'd be asleep in the first 5 minutes. It wasn't good. And so my husband sweetly suggested that I see this anti-aging doctor who put me on a gazillion supplements, which I took every day. I literally was putting 28 pills in my mouth every morning and trying to swallow them. Sometimes I'd have to throw them in a baggie and bring them in the car because I was running late because I didn't want to get up in the morning. And then I'd realize I didn't have water, It was just a big hassle. So after 6 months of trying to do that, doing that every day and hating every minute of it, when I went to see my doctor as a follow-up, she said, "How you doing?" I said, "I hate taking that many pills." And she said, "Oh, well, there's one product that's clinically proven to reduce oxidative stress, as Dr. Goodman just educated everyone about." I happened to know what that was at the time. I knew that was oxidizing, breathing oxygen. I also knew that was rusting. I also knew that was aging and not good. So as soon as she said that, my life changed. I was like, I knew I was going to take it forever. I knew I was going to force feed it to my husband, give it to my dad, my mom, my grandma, my grandpa. And I looked at my dog, and I'm like, he's rusting too. So I started giving it to him. And I just got the big box of it because I knew I wanted to save money on shipping. It was either $6.99 a month to ship me 1 bottle at a time, or it was $14.99 to ship me a bunch, So I was like, well, that's silly. I'm going to get the big box. So I did not plan on talking to anybody about this. But when I saw what it did for my husband, myself, my dog, my mom, I was like, wow, people need to know about this. And I knew oxidation was why we're, getting all achy old. So I just figured, well, let's try to tell people about this. And so I began open to figuring this out. And along the time, the company was progressing in terms of being at the forefront of nutrigenomics. So they came out with the NRF1 for your mitochondria, the omega, which is an amazing omega, the probiotic. Skin, we're going to get into that in a minute. But what I love about they don't rest on their laurels. I mean, people don't like carrying bottles around all the time, right? And I'm on the go a lot. And sometimes I realize I forgot to take my stack in the morning. So they made this really cool stack that you can just put a few in your purse, a few in your desk drawer, a few in your locker at the gym, in your overnight bag. And they're just awesome. And my kids who used to, go, wah, wah, whenever I would say, take your stack. Now they're like, Mom, can you give me my stack? Cool. So they just grab it and go. And I love this. So that's the Vitality Stack. And what's interesting is since we've come out with the core 4, the results that I'm seeing in my friends that I share this with are more profound and occur faster because the products work synergistically together, because they do support the 4 core pillars of health. And if you think about a table, it doesn't stand up if it only has 3 legs. So one of my favorite products of all the products, I actually love them all. They're all amazing, phenomenal. But one of my favorites is the True Science System. When I first found out about it, we just had the anti-aging cream. I got a bottle in my box. I used it every day. When I was 39, my hairdresser, because I don't wear makeup usually. I mean, today I put makeup on because I knew I was going to see some people from high school, so I had to put makeup on. But my hairdresser used to say, at least you should wear a tinted moisturizer. And I was like, I think I need a new hairdresser. So I did. I got a new hairdresser. But my skin was blotchy. I mean, it had freckles. I was out in the sun somewhere and I ran, and I didn't have a very even complexion. But using these products, I get people stopping me in my tracks to tell me my skin looks amazing, and I'm a lot older than I was then. So I love the fact that your skin also has nerve 2 proteins in it. They're keratinocytes, and all these skin cells have these nerve 2 proteins, and when you activate them from the inside by taking the products, and from the outside, because the skin is adopted from the environment, skin literally becomes younger at the cellular level. And this is Gordon Dickey is a crazy husband of one of our elite distributors, our master doesn't show, our master distributors, and he got the skincare line before the rest of us, and he started using it on one side of his face, and somebody saw him at convention and said, "Oh my goodness!" and they took that picture, and then he was at another party several weeks later, and somebody else took that picture, and it's just amazing. You know, when you start rejuvenating your skin cells, all 7 layers deep, your skin's wrinkles begin to diminish in appearance, not because the cells are swollen, because you're irritating them, like what can occur with like retin-A and harsh things, that you're not diminishing the wrinkles by making the skin cells swell up. You're diminishing the wrinkles because the skin cells are rejuvenating and being replaced. So it's a much better way, in my opinion. Many of you got to try our Axio. I call it liquid brain food. It is nerve 2 activation specifically formulated. Your brain's ability to focus and have mental clarity, calm, clear energy that, you know, when you think about fatigue and why I was so tired when I went to see my doctor, it was physical fatigue, sure, but it was also mental fatigue. I was just kind of over my dad, overadulting. I don't know. It's just like there's a things that, you know, you are pinging off your brain all day when you're trying to take care of everything that you take care of, and your brain just gets fatigued, and this just turns your brain's ability on to handle things. You just are calm and you're clear. If I go on a road trip, I always have an Axio. I take the caffeinated ones before I work out. They give me focus to help crush my workouts. They help me stay on target. They help me remember why I went into the room. And in the afternoon, I do the decaf because it does keep me focused. There's not really a limit on the decaf. Obviously, if you did 100, maybe. But you don't want to do more than 4 of the caffeinated ones a day because each one has about 100 milligrams of caffeine, and really you shouldn't do more than 400 milligrams of caffeine in a day. So I don't. It's all natural, colored with fruits and vegetables. It's flavored with fruits. Artificial as well. It does have stevia in it as well, which is a natural sweetener. No artificial flavors, colors, no GMOs, gluten-free, low carb. It is incredible. And funny, though, I'm so glad that we have the physique system because that's how Debbie found me. I posted the results. We had a 90-day program, a competition a couple of years ago where the winner was going to win $50,000. Like, it was a big deal. So people that were already taking the Proteanum started using the new physique weight management line. I love the IQ at the end. It's really smart weight management. It's weight management with an IQ. And the reason we say that is because it's not just, no, it's a scientifically designed cleanse that really cleans out the colon. It's a plant based fat burners. And the ProBio, which we have in our Vitality Stack, and a really clean protein with grass-fed casein and whey, and it's delicious. Grams of protein, but it's a great snack in the afternoon. It would be a great dessert option if you blend it with ice and almond milk, exactly like a milkshake from McDonald's. I do not. It's amazing. And I add cocoa to it. I add green powders because it's pretty sweet, even though it's 1 gram of organic and then stevia. But it's sweet, and I'm not really make it with cocoa and left. She was athletic her whole life, and there she is in January of 2016. This may be the picture that you reached out to me after. I think it was her. And she'd been working out all of her life. She was an athletic, but she always had that body shape. It never changed, but she added the physique products, continued doing everything she was doing. She just added this regimen, and she got those results in 1 month. This other lady, I can't remember her name, Kim, I think it's Kim. She started out there's a 90-day picture. Is it on the next slide? No. There's a 90-day picture where she's not quite as awesome as she is in 2017, but she's a mom of young kids. She works out maybe 15 minutes every other day. She's not a workout fanatic. She tosses the toddlers up in the air and bends down to pick up their toys whenever she can and moves her body, but she, the products work, in other words. This is Gail's husband, Eddie, and you can see specific loss of belly fat. Belly fat is toxic. It's metabolically active. It creates target the belly fat, you're metabolically more healthy. Okay, so, and you look better too. This is a couple. They used to live in my hometown, and they moved up to Indiana, and they did this. They were going for it. Now he was working out like a crazy man, and she started working out too. So these people did incorporate healthy lifestyle choices as well as the products. LifeVantage. I love this company. It's all about making people better. It is a publicly traded company on the NASDAQ. Ticker symbol is LFVN. I'm glad I own stock. That's all I'm going to say about that. I'm not a stock advisor, but I'm really glad I own stock. They're committed to the global good. They have given wells to Wells for Life, given the they have given mosquito nets. I mean, they give back, and they give back big. And I really love that they help those of us who choose to try to introduce this to others or to help people. They really help us become people that bring the greatest thing that's happened in my life besides marrying my husband and having my boy. Of course, my dogs do. But, great. I do. Meningioma on your lobe, you've got a herniated disc at the L5S1 nerve root. Does that really help you? I mean, it's information. Doctor, there are other as Dr. Goodman said, and it will make you better in many ways. It's different. We can't say whether you're going to feel it or not because it's cellular processes. It's you don't feel your sodium level dividing. You don't feel your oxidative stress, but you feel the end result of it. You feel when your cells don't function, your tissues don't function, your organs don't function, your systems don't function, and then you start to notice something. So what's most gratifying business, in addition to real job, is that I get to collect story after story after story after story every single day. It's amazing. I've got a photo album on my phone just called Testimonials because it blows my mind. And Debbie is the same too. She's got we call it a God book. You write down everything that's happened because of this blessing that we have that's changing people's lives, and it's just the most gratifying thing. And of course, it's network marketing now. It didn't used to be network marketing. It used to be sold in GNC and Rite Aid and CVS, and the company made $20 off of every bottle they sold, and the GNC made $30. Occasionally they would mark it down, and the GNC would only make $20. But then, when they realized that people didn't know what this was, it's sitting on a shelf next to vitamin C and vitamin E that they'd heard of. And the GNC clerk with a high school degree, and you could bring up the ugly brown bottle at the time to the clerk and go, "What's this?" He'd go, "I don't know, I think it's an antioxidant. It says antioxidant." People just didn't know, and so the company was literally dying on the vine, selling half a bottle per store per month. And their whole company was making $3 million a year at the time, which sounds like a lot, but it was a publicly traded company. It was losing $1 million a year on this model. So when they hired a consultant, he looked at the news report, which, if you haven't seen it, go to thelittleyellowpill.net, www.thelittleyellowpill.net, and watch that news report. Because that aired in 2005, the consultant saw that and saw John Quinone as an Emmy Award-winning investigative journalist who came back not in stress 40% in 30 days, back in 12 days. But no matter, his oxidative stress had come down 45%, which was pretty remarkable. It was down to the level of a newborn. And so when that aired one time in 2005, the researchers that were sitting at home on the couch, their day jobs were at Vanderbilt and Ohio State and Virginia Commonwealth, research heart disease, muscular dystrophy, skin cancer, LSU, it all said, they said, if it can reduce oxidative stress by almost to what we're studying, I wonder what it would do to the cells that we have for our disease model for what we're studying. So they immediately initiated and funded studies. In fact, 29 there's some in Switzerland and Japan and China. So these studies were eventually completed, and when I found out about it in 2012, there were 9 studies on PubMed. And then, lo and behold, the next month, the 10th study was published, and 2 months later, the 11th study. Well, we're on to something here. And it was pretty neat. But again, nobody really knew about it unless you were a researcher who happened to ABC. So that consultant said, this is a product, word of mouth. Of course, the company was like, you mean network marketing, right? And no, thank you. We're a publicly traded biotech company. We're not Tupperware. We're not Mary Kay. We're not Avon. We're a publicly traded bio company. They said no to the network marketing model 4 times until they were going to have to close the doors because they were losing so much money. And they finally agreed reluctantly to set up a few distributors that had been looking for a company to join to let them do like an arm, like a trial, and see what they could do versus, and they outdid it 300% in 30 months. Okay, so, and that was just a part. In 2009, LifeVantage was launched, and then they grew to 39 million, 12 million, and over 200 million today. So here we are, 9 years marketing company that has a Vitality Stack product that's only been out for a year and a half, and out of 8,200 category won Stevie Award bronze medal. Over 200,000 distributors in the world. If you have 150,000 or fewer distributors in your country, you have a ground floor opportunity. We have 85,000 in the world. We're in 18 countries. So we need help. We have to people that need these products, buy them some. Or if you want them for yourself, buy yourself some. Or both. Sign up as a customer that has a website, also known as a distributor. And it's pretty simple. You don't have to, oh my gosh, I'm a network marketer. You don't have to chase people. You just say, look, you want to know? You open? I can show you something. And there are a lot of stories that started in this room by that very question. I think I have something that may help you. Okay? We have some people that have stories here, and I would love to hear. In fact, Diane, our beautiful hostess here, has a story. I would love for you to hear your story, and that's exactly how you felt about this. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. Thank you. I want to tell you a story. This is a little difficult for me. In 2002, I was in a very tragic car accident. I was a single mother, and I had 2 young sons, and I ended up breaking my neck in several places. I had a head injury. I had 87 stitches in my scalp. My right arm was severely injured. They had to reconstruct it. There was nothing there. I lived in rehab for almost 6 months, learning how to walk, and it was horrific. I had the best and the worst of healthcare professionals, and God bless them, they tried making me do things that I couldn't do. Well, long story short, I got through it. By the grace of God, I got through it, and I survived. But I didn't realize that was going to be a long-term effects. When you have several surgeries on the back of your neck and you have the muscle spasms, which goes into migraines. My son saw me laying on the floor in the middle of my living room or on my couch, unable to lift my head up for hours at a time without wanting to throw up because of the muscle spasm was going into a migraine, which caused me to physically not be able to move, which caused me not to be able to function for months at a time. Now, for those of you who have inflammation problems, when it gets cold or damp, Florida, we're in this rainy season. When it starts getting damp or it starts getting cold out here, that's why I stay in Florida. I'm a Floridian, but I do not go near cold weather because I figured my new norm was eating an anti-inflammatory every single day, popping it every single day, and that was my new norm, just so I could function. Well, a friend of mine, sitting in the back there, we were having a conversation today, and they're just talking just random stuff, and she goes, "I want to talk to you about something." I'm like, "What?" I am one of these people that I can barely remember. If I don't drink my coffee in the morning, if I don't have a list, exercise for 20 minutes, do this, I'll be out the door forgetting it. I'll be working, I'll forgetting it, and I will not remember. So we had this conversation, and I was kind of explaining about how miserable I was, and it's raining, it's damp, and I have no range of motion in my neck. Well, when I am going into the muscle spasm, I'm usually turning like this. And I've been doing this now since 2002, and this was the new norm for me. So we started talking about that, and she goes, "I want to tell you about this little yellow pill." I'm like, "Oh, you got to be joking me." Seriously. I kind of rolled my eyes like I'm really good at. And she was really being serious. She just became a nurse, and she was just really being serious. And I'm not being serious at this point because I don't want to hear anything. This is my new norm. I've been doing it since 2002. I've dealt with it. This is what I have to deal with. Well, I said, okay, I'm going to try it. I started taking this pill. I'm like choking this thing down, thinking, okay, well, I'll take one more pill. And I'm religiously, I have like 22 notes all over my house to remind me, take my little yellow pill every day. We're all busy. We do all kinds of different things. We're all busy taking care of kids or grandkids or working or civic, duties or church or whatever it is. We forget about ourselves. I was the one I forgot about taking care of me. I just did my little normal simple thing. Well, I started taking this little pill and took it every day. Well, about 38 days into, I didn't understand about the nerve 2 activator. And after doing some research, I realized that I had to take it in enough time to allow this to take effect. Well, I am no longer taking any anti-inflammatory. Now, mind you, taking it almost daily to survive since 2002, I had to stop taking it because I didn't need it. I didn't get up in the morning going, I have to pop an anti-inflammatory to be able to move after 30, 35 minutes. And now this is my new normal, and I feel amazing. So I'm going to say that I'm very blessed. I'm very blessed that Miss Danielle taught me about this, and I'm now proven this is my new norm. This is my life. So for those of you who may be the ones who go, I just don't want to take another vitamin, trust yourself, trust your instinct, trust these professionals. This is something that really helped me, and for me, I can tell you this is my story, and for me, it's personal. Do you have a personal story? Thank you.
And I just happened to have met Sheila this morning. Would you mind sharing a story with us, please? I know this is going to, if she starts to cry, we'll just have to poke her or something. Okay, so if you just hold on to that. Actually, I think I can do this. And again, these products are not meant to treat, cure, prevent, or mitigate any disease. They just activate our bodies, and it's the activation of your daughter's body that changed some things for her. So, not because she took a pill, but because she activated the pathway. Thank you, Sheila.
Thank you. Yes, this is very hard. I started taking it for myself. Let me start from the beginning. Well, this wonderful person that I work with, Suzanne, she started telling me about how wonderful she started feeling. And I've always had a weight problem, and so I said, okay, let me try this. So I started with the little yellow pill. the little yellow pill for me worked, I felt, pretty well. And then I started on the Vitality Stack. That was a life changer for me. And then I started asking her, okay, I've got a special needs child. She had an accident when she was 4. She had a febrile seizure in our bathtub, and she almost died. I did everything. I did hyperbaric treatments. I did homeopathic. I did everything that everyone told me not to do. She ended up with the fundoplication. She ended up with the G-tube. She ended up with a trach. And she ended up in 6 months of therapy just to survive. She was on every medication you can think of. Seizures, everything. So, in order for me to try something on my daughter, I had to do it on me first. And let me tell you that my daughter has always had therapy all of her life. She doesn't walk, wasn't talking, wasn't moving. Therapists coming to the house. I have 24 hours of nursing most of the time. I started the little yellow pill on her in July 1st. I have to crush it to get it into her G-tube. Mix it with water, and everything goes down her G-tube. After about 3.5 weeks, I was alone with her at home. And all of a sudden, out of the blue, I started to hear, "Mama, Mama." I didn't know what to think. I didn't know what was going on. I went into her room and she reached out to me. And she took my hand and started rubbing her face with it. She's never done that before. So, this is why she takes the little yellow pill. I want to try more products with her, but they have to be crushed. And I know that certain products can't be. I look forward to the future now with her. She is now 25 years old. And this is what I now get from her, which is a huge, huge plus in our lives. Thank you. Sorry.
Thank you so much. Wow, I knew she had a powerful story. I just didn't know it all. And thank you so much. Tears. And just for your information, one of our good friends, Abby, the one that Debbie reached out to when she had a post about just, making autoimmune awareness and whatnot. And Debbie said, I think I may have something that you might want to look at, or I may have something that could help you. Something simple like that, just like Diane was exposed by Danny, and she did, and she started taking, just like you, the mom had to take it first, and then she researched for her daughter, and her daughter has autism and autoimmune hepatitis, and finally she's like, well, she can't have anything for her autism because she's got autoimmune hepatitis, so I can't give her a drug. Maybe I'll have to try this, so she did. And I wanted to give you a little tiny little pearl. We always talk about the ProBio with the encapsulation that's vacuum sealed, and that's part of how it's so effective, and it's layered, and that's part of how it's so effective, and it's protected from the stomach barrier. She crushes it for her Emigrace. And Emigrace had a tremendous benefit with it, even though Emigrace has taken every other probiotic on the market before and hasn't had any. So she went from needing Miralax, I don't know, you know her because you take care of her. I don't know what she needed, but Emigrace, poops great now. So, and she crushes the probiotic. So, just wanted to throw that out there. But I mean, it's, if anyone else would like to share a story, again, Suzanne, I would love to hear your story, and maybe if we can get Denise up here to talk about something later. If she feels motivated, come on, come on. Help Suzanne out. She might need a little moral support. Come on. Yeah, I can't even look over at you. I know, I'm like that. Thank you. Okay, so I'm gonna pin this on. Oh, you hold that.
How's everybody doing?
Okay.
Good.
okay, well, I just want to let you know, I started on these products about a year ago because my sister Debbie forced me to. She came and she talked to me and she said, you need to do this. Well, I would call it forced. But she came and she said, you need this. Come on, you need to come get healthy with me. We're going to do this together. And I finally said, okay, fine. I'll go ahead and do it. So I started on the product and I started taking it. And I was calling her every month. Okay, I feel nothing. Nothing's happening. My body's not changing. Nothing's working. I don't really need this. She goes, just stick with it. Trust me, you're changing from the inside. You're creating help for your body that you don't even realize you're helping. So I said, okay, all right, I'm going to stick with it. So I kept going and I kept going and I was feeling good, but I really didn't feel that much different. Some people feel enormous impact right away. I didn't feel anything different. So lo and behold, I keep going. 6 months later, still about the same. And I go to my regular annual doctor's appointment. And when I go to my doctor's appointment, we're required to do it in the school district. And they give you all of your blood work. And I had my blood work done. And my blood work from the year before had changed drastically. And I can't even begin to tell you. What Debbie didn't know at that time is I was diagnosed as a diabetic because I was overweight and they classified me as obese. And I was like, what the heck kind of word is that? That's never been in my vocabulary. I don't even know what that is. And on top of that, I was on high blood pressure medicine and I was taking metformin for the diabetes. And so I said, okay, this isn't going to work. So go to the doctor, get my blood work back. At the same time, about 4 months earlier, I had started on the weight loss products, the Physique IQ. So from the time I started, within less than a year, I've lost 52 pounds. Thank you, thank you. Only have another whatever to go, but you know, I'm working on it. My blood sugars went down by 44 points. So I am no longer classified as diabetic. And my blood pressure has been completely normal, and they took me off my high blood pressure pills way back when I went to the doctor. So for almost 7 months now, I've had no high blood pressure pills, and my blood pressure is lower than it was before I started the high blood pressure medicine. So even though I wasn't feeling a lot different other than the weight loss, my body was telling me, hey, you're doing the right thing. You're doing what you're supposed to be doing. You're making improvements. You're making life changes. Your health is improving. So for me, this is something I will never stop doing. I know that it's helped me tremendously. I forced my husband to do it. He didn't realize he needed it, but I said, trust me, you need this. And so he's been taking the products regularly. I have my daughter-in-law with me and my son who are taking the products. My daughter-in-law's mother is taking the products. My other kids are taking them. So for me, as soon as I knew it was beneficial for my health and my life, I knew everybody I knew needed to be doing these. Because a lot of us don't realize we need help until we get past the point that we should have been helped a long time ago. So, you know, take control of your life. Do something good for your health. Do something good for your life. I encourage you to research, look at information, find out anything you know. Lots of people here you can ask questions to, but it'll change your life.
Do you believe in the business?
Oh my gosh. Not only, well, for those of you who don't know, also within this business, they had a little competition for pace setters where you could, you know, as you were moving along and doing some things, you could get enrolled into a competition that they had. Not really a competition, but, you know, just have, yeah, a raffle that you would put your name in. So the last convention that we went to, there were over 80,000 people that were eligible for the raffle, 20,000 names in the bin, and lo and behold, mine was chosen, and by the end of the raffle, I had won $50,000. So not only from my health, but my financial side, my husband's loving this stuff. So, but it is a way to improve your life and improve your health and your financial business as well. You know, I couldn't think of anything better. I've been an educator for 34 years. I've been a school principal for over 10 years. I can get a room full of 1,000 kids quiet and to do what I want them to do at a drop of a hat, but yet I never took care of myself. So come on, people. Come take care of yourself. Take care of your life.
Don't do that. Let go. I had it. All right. There you go. This is Denise, everybody.
Hi, my name is Denise.
Don't say your family made you do it, right?
Sean.
And I'm grateful every minute of it. Oh, good, good.
My story is unlike Suzanne's. I took the little yellow pill, and in 4 days, I was able to move my shoulder. So for those who don't know me, I used to bodybuild, state, national, international champion. And I quit working out because I had hurt my shoulder doing dips going all the way down, and both of them actually, and I was getting shots. And I didn't realize that it was also eating the bone. So I quit. I could not even turn or get the comforter off me in the middle of the night, and I was like this for a couple of years. I actually quit working out with a friend of mine after I closed the gym because I just had no energy, I wasn't sleeping, and I couldn't move my arms. So for me, it was 4 days. But I do have to say, on the other hand, I am going to bring up my husband's, his experience with the pill. He, unlike me, is very different. He doesn't eat the healthiest, and he has very bad back problems. So for him, he does concrete, which is very hard, and especially as you get older. So I do want to say, it's amazing, but for him, coming home at night, walking through the door, my mom would be over my house for dinner, walking through the door, and